Hello, this is Catherine Dubberly, the Answer Lady. I'm a big fan of KISS looms, and I am cooperating with Kelly at KISS to present to you a whole series of looming techniques especially for KISS. We're going to do this on all sorts of KISS looms, so you get to see every basic technique on your own loom. Welcome and enjoy. This is a hat that was knitted from the top down. So here's the crown. I used the drawstring cast on, knitted the body of the hat, then did a few rows of ribbing, and now we are ready to bind off. And this is the perfect time to use the crochet cast off or bind off. I know of two ways to do it, and I like one of them a great deal better than the other, but I'm going to start with the more common one. This is a little crochet hook, and smaller than this would be better. You'll see why in a minute, but this is the one I could find. So we insert the crochet hook into the first stitch and chain through it with the working yarn, which is still attached. Now we pick up the next stitch and chain through it. And this is why smaller would be better, because I have to work that crochet hook in somehow to the stitch, and there's not a great deal of room. We're working with the small gauge loom here. So a couple sizes smaller of a crochet hook would make my life easier. But this is doable. And you can start to see it make a nice, neat chained edge. However, there is a way I greatly prefer. This is a latch tool. It's really a machine knitting tool. There's a little, there it is, you can see it, a little door that opens and shuts. So it's like a very skinny crochet hook with a latch that closes, and it makes this job much, much easier and neater. This is really a machine knitting tool, and to use the latch tool version, you don't actually have to remove the stitches. I did that time, but let's see if I can get started doing it my usual way. Insert the latch tool into the stitch, top to bottom, go past the latch, there's the top of the latch, pull up a new loop, push the tool through that loop and through the next stitch, pull up a new loop. My left hand is tensioning, and the loom is actually holding all my stitches and keeping them the same size. And because the latch tool opens and shuts, pulling your new loops through and keeping the loops where you want them without them falling off is very easy. But the look is going to be just the same as it will with the crochet hook, which is more available to more people. However, it's not difficult to get a hold of one of these if you want one. This is a machine knitter's tool. The one I'm using is a standard gauge one, and that's what I recommend. And here's the edge you get. You can do a neat job with either tool, so don't feel that one is really better than the other. It's just a matter of preference. I'm going to keep going, and I will see you when we're close to the end of the hat. 3 sides are bound off now. Here's the first side that I took off to show you what the edge looks like, but the other 2 are still on the pins. They're cast off. If I lift them off, they'll be fine, but the pins and the pegs have been spacing my chain stitches so as to keep them completely even. Now let's turn the corner. And because of the way a KISS loom is made, you can just come around the corner. Let me go very slowly here to make sure you can see. The latch opens as you push it through, and you must go all the way past the latch, otherwise you can't manipulate it to pull back the yarn. And you pull it back through both the stitch that you just went through and the loop that was already on the tool, that is. Now we've got 1 loop on the tool, we go through the stitch, must go all the way past the latch, and grab the new yarn and pull it through. If these stitches slide down too far, it'll be hard to push down through them, so simply lift them up. Go through, past the latch. You can help it with your finger if you need to. Grab a new loop, pull it through, and tighten it up so it's the same size as the others, and your pegs and pins will stop you when it gets there. You don't have to guess. Pull through, top to bottom, past the latch. That one's trying to split on me, so I have to do it over. I'm opening the latch manually. There we go. You can't split the yarn and have this work neatly. Through the stitch, past the latch. I just tightened up the old loop because it loosened a little bit on me. Grab a new loop and pull it through. You may be able to see the latch work better if I change angles a little bit. Doesn't really matter if my stitches get caught on the pegs or pins at this point, because they might working at this angle, but shortly I'm going to lift it all off of the loom, off of the pegs, off of the pins. So it's not a big deal. While you're knitting, it's a very big deal to keep everything where it belongs. We're just about to get it all off. Through the next stitch, grab a loop, pull it up. If I drop the stitch, which I just did, no disaster, just insert the tool again. There we go. The latch tool takes a little bit of learning to get used to, and at first you may dislike it. But if you buy one, keep working with it and give it a chance, because it grows on you, I promise. I remember the first time I used it, I thought, oh, I'll never master it. 2 weeks later, I loved it. At the very last, pull your yarn tail all the way through. Now we can lift everything off of the loom. It just pops on up, no big deal. Stretch it down, and you have a real pretty bind off. Now, what are you going to do about this? It's no problem. Insert the tool. I'll use the crochet hook because it's bright red. It'll be easier for you to see. Under the first of the chain stitches, farthest away from the yarn tail, bring the yarn tail through. See, it's already closing up. And this time I'm going to use the latch tool. Do that again from the other side. And now I can just knot it and bury the yarn tail, and this is how I do it in the quickest way. Pull through once, but not very far. Pull the yarn tail all the way through it. Now it really is knotted. And bury the tail by going under and pull it through. It's under there, but you can't see it, so now I can snip it off with my yarn snips. Now if I wanted to be extra secure, I could bring it back the other direction, and the likelihood of the tail working itself out one direction and then the other is nearly zero. So now I could snip.